Hello, Africa. I greet you all. This is a new message from the overall office of the African Revolution Force, from our great leader. You all know him. And for the past few weeks ago, I've been trying so hard, working so hard to make sure he give Africa the opportunity to regain their identity. All Africans all over the world. African Americans, African Europeans, African Asians. African Revolution Force is trying so hard, working so hard to unite Africa all over the world. And we've seen the solution to the African problem. We've gotten the solution to the African problem. The old European government officials, those that came to Africa for hustling and for colonization, they are very smart people, but in the other way around. They are very intelligent, they are very clever, and they are strong in mind. They know the real meaning of fundamental human rights. They know once you lost your identity, you're done. You're done. You will just live with a strange identity. And it will cause you trauma, depression, anxiety. It will make you humanless. It will dehumanize you. If you lost your identity, you will be dehumanized. Even in nature, your mentality will be nothing. Your mentality will not be accepted in any civilized organization. That's why the African Revolution Force is working so hard to make sure that Africa regain their identity. All the lost tribes, we're trying to bring them back. We are trying to identify all the lost tribes. Africa's shithole today is not like the environment is shithole or like our land is shithole. No. But the leaders, they are from shithole places. Like they are the shithole themselves. They are the leaders, the African leaders, they are the shitholes themselves. In African Revolution Force is trying now to awake the African spirit, to revolutionize our mind, to civilize our mind and spirit, Because everything you see happening now in Africa was not just only caused by the old British Empire. Their intention was not just to dehumanize Africa or to punish Africa, but because Africa did not give them the chance to to get everything, all that they needed. So they have to go, they have to leave Africa, but they have to set Africa on fire with an idea that will destroy Africa in future. They know Africa will start having tribal issues in future. And as they finished with Africa and come back to Europe and America, what happened? Another man also from Europe wanted also to disorganize the tribe, to destroy the European tribe. I don't want to mention the name, but you all know the name. He tried to bring all Europe together under his control and under his command and government. So it will not matter where you come from or your language or your tribe, you have to be under his command. But the Europeans, the smart Europeans, the good Europeans, they understood the real meaning of fundamental human right, that it starts from your identity. That is where it starts, from your identity. You must hold on to your identity. Your language is your identity. Your language is your tribe. Your language is your country. Your language is your nation. Your language is your everything. Your culture, your tradition, all must be kept solid. You must be strong to keep them. So this man tried to join them together, but they fought him. They joined also hand together, the good ones that understood the rights of all individuals. They fought him and they won. As they fought him and won, what did they do? They also reshuffle themselves again. They make themselves different tribes, different countries. If you speak Dutch, you're Netherlands. If you speak Italian, you're Italian. You speak French, you're France. You don't see where they bring Italy, France, Germany, Switzerland, and join them together as one country. No, that was the plan of that man. But the Europeans know it will be a problem, it will be a war, it will cause them to hate themselves, it will cause them to not to have respect for each other. It will cause them trauma, it will cause them so much anxiety and trauma, depression. That's why you see so much depression, trauma, anxiety all over Europe, Western world, America, everywhere. That is their number one sickness. Depression, anxiety, they kill themselves. Rich person will just go to hotel or anything and drink poison or hang himself. Just for what? The things he had already, people have been praying for a long time to be like him. Then why killing yourself? Because something is still missing. Those things didn't just miss yesterday. It was from that time that man tried to reshuffle everything to bad level, to bad dimension. But now you see how they arrange everything. They make every language different countries, but they also have one unity. They also have a common relationship. Like they do things together, they do business together. Like their technology is not a competition, but it's like challenge. Their development is not competition, it's challenge. Everything they do is not like competition. It's challenge. If this one's develop, the other ones want to develop too. If this one's build new thing, the other ones want to build the new. Even they help each other to make sure they achieve everything they want to achieve. Then why Africa? Why Africa? Why Africa cannot think like this? Why Africa, every African, especially the youths, cannot start to civilize, educate yourself by yourself, educate yourself with the things you see. Even ask God to minister to you more things that you needed to know. Now you see, to show you how smart and intelligent the old Europeans, those that came to Africa, to show you how smart they were. They selected the smart ones from Africa. They selected the stars, the giants, the important ones, because they have spiritual eyes. They can see. If they see a smart person, they know. So if you watch all those ones they took to America and all over Europe, they are all smart people. They are all clever people. They are all talented people. They are superstars. They are shining all over the world, but they are still suffering that pain of destroying their identity. They still suffered it up to tomorrow. I suffer it with them. I've lived with them. I've been with them. I heard from them. I've discussed with them. So I feel the same pain. I understood their pain. They even, somehow, many of them, they hate us, those that came from Africa, to like ordinary visitor, normal, you travel by yourself. They don't really like you because they believe your own forefathers sold their forefathers. How can you defend that? How can you deny it? You can't deny it, because we in Africa, we also know the story of slavery business among the African kings. You know, they even made some movie about it, like Africans slaving themselves, like even kidnapping some people from farm. Even if a king die, they say they have to bury the king with 7 innocent heads. Just imagine the likeness. See, all people living in Africa, they don't need to come to Europe first or America before they will understand all these things. You only have to listen to those who have been to that Europe and America. They have seen more things. They know exactly what life is all about. So when they tell you on how to change your mind and on how to start thinking to a different dimension, you have to listen and follow. So those ones they selected from Africa, look at their situation in America and all over the world. They are the superstars. They are just, we know all of them. But see, the ones in Africa, it's like we are just starting. It's like we are coming up yesterday. And I don't like seeing African people complaining about African situation. I don't like it at all. Because we have seen way forward. We have seen how to achieve the things we need. But they wouldn't want to do that. It's like we've been divided, like as in anything I want to do, I have to do for myself. You have to do for yourself. You don't have to. Let's forget those things and move forward and live. Then why complaining? For me, normally I don't have problems. I'm very fine. I'm very fine, more than 100%. But I only feel the pain of other people. I feel the pain of other people. So the only way, Mazin Nnamdi Kanu is telling the Biafrans to boycott the 2019 elections. People don't really understand. This fight is not just about only Biafra. It's not just about only the Igbos. Even the Yorubas, Hausas, Fulanis, Tivis, all the tribes in Nigeria, all the tribes in Africa. African Revolution Force want all of you to boycott every election in your country. Tell your leaders to reshuffle your country, to bring back all African tribes to the table, to bring all African tribes to the house, to the federal house, to sit with them and discuss on the management of the continent. All tribes must be represented, all tribes must be heard, all languages must be respected because they are tribes, they are countries, they are human. Every language is a human being. It must be respected and its rights must be respected. So now Mazin Namdi Kanu said we should boycott the elections, and people are like thinking he's trying to destroy a Buhari administration or something. No, you people don't understand. He's fine. He's rich. He's educated. He know everything. He's also safe. He's only fighting for people, not just he can start up his own business if he don't want to work in Europe or anyway. He have all it takes to be who he want to be. Then why is he disturbing himself like trying to? So you people have to think that he is real. Like you don't have to worry about his own lifestyle of something. No, but think about what he's saying. Let the leaders vote themselves in, or maybe the British government will come and vote them in and do their campaign and vote for them. Maybe that will be better. Every language in Africa must have a representative in United Nations, not just only Africa, all over the world must. This is a world revolutionary movement. Yes. So those our African Americans, African Europeans, whom our forefathers also contributed in selling their own forefathers, because it was from slave trade to fair trade. It become like normal. And if you also understand even or like to confirm, if you confirm why all the Europeans came to Africa for that kind of hustling and taking of African people, you also feel like, yeah, normally they needed it, but it's supposed to be like in a normal way, in a normal agreement, because they needed people to work for them. It's so much. The winter here is unbelievable. It's unbelievable, and imagine how people survive the whole conditions here before we have electricity and heater to make your place warm. They suffered a lot, so they needed people to help them. They needed food, they needed money, they needed many things to develop their place, So, but the old African ancient people, they never been to the European side to feel their situation, to feel their pain, to know that these people. So when they saw them come to Africa, they were like, where these people come from? Things like that. And those people, they come for hustling. They cannot just go back empty-handed, just like we here now in Western world. We don't want to go back to Africa just like that. You have to at least make something. So those people, they also came to Africa to hustle for their people. People were suffering so much here. So they have to make sure they achieve everything before they come back. Do or die. Even if it takes their last blood to. They have to. And they did it. And they survived it. And now just imagine. They took just a little bit from what we have in Africa. And see what they have used that little bit to do. They invest more with that little bit. But we that say have more in Africa, what are we doing with the more? It's written that you that have gift, if you don't make use of it or you don't know how to make use of it, it will be taken away from you and give to the person who know how to make use of it to add to his own. That is also somehow what is going on. So all those our African brothers that our forefathers sold to, or they kidnapped, or anyhow they took them to America and Europe, where are their fathers' land in Africa? Their forefathers, they had some property, landed property, houses, farm, all those places we call oil well, oil refinery companies. Many of them, they are their forefathers' land, because if you watch those people, the Europeans took them from those oil well areas. That's the areas they selected them, because they are in a blessed land. So those people must be blessed people. That's why they took them too. So they took the people and also making use of their land there in Africa. So now the African Revolution Force is trying to unite all Africans around the world. Number one, we have asked the African Americans, the African Europeans to forgive us on behalf of our forefathers. Maybe their brain wasn't like very sharp now, like things are moving faster, so if it's this time, I don't think the African youth now will allow such thing to happen. It's better we'll die there in Africa and fight with our last blood, instead of them to take anyone out from Africa. It's better they kill all of us there. So those things happened that time because of the mentality of those our forefathers. They're a little bit afraid, they fear, so things change now. So you people don't have to use what they done and to put it on our head, to use it to punish us. I didn't witness slavery or the threat. I didn't witness anything like that. I wasn't there. So they don't have to be angry at us. So we have apologized to them and try to make them to understand that it's time to come back. Not coming back by leaving everything they had in Europe and America and come back to Africa. No, they have to remain in Europe and America, but they also have their properties, their businesses, their investments, their families, joining the African meeting and everything. Just like other people like me, we're in Europe, but they will also travel to Africa to, you can go there, spend some months, you come back, do your thing, you see, you have some family and identity there. It's very important. So that's the whole thing we're trying to bring them. So all African Americans and African Europeans, they will have dual citizenship. Like they will go to any African embassy of their choice. If you look yourself in the mirror, you look like, maybe I will look like this part of Africa. Okay, you go to their embassy, you ask for their passport, for their ID, national ID. It will be given to you, and every right must also be given to you as a citizen of that country, as indigene of that country. They have to bring out your own forefathers' land. Those are your forefathers' property. All those, they are oil, gold, and silver, diamond. All those our African leaders now have to reshuffle African land. They have to reshuffle Africa to make sure they give those our brothers in America and Europe their own shares of their fathers' property. Because the spirit of their forefathers are not also happy. That's why you see they are still suffering all those pain, because they never also try to imagine, we don't have to fight America, we don't have to fight Europe, we have to go fight all those Africa that even allowed the Europeans and the Americans to take our forefathers for the first place. So we have to go fight them, we have to go regain our forefathers' property, we have to go regain everything that they had. So this is the new development. We've been working so hard to make sure we reshuffle Africa, to make sure all Africa is being revolutionized. So every African listening must share this message, digest it to your spirit, and make sure you work towards it. The weapons of our warfare are not carnal. they are spiritual and mighty. To bring down all those thoughts, all those bad ideas that is keeping Africa, that is making Africa be dehumanized. You have to wake your spirit up. You have to educate yourself. It's time for Africa to shine. It's either you bend or you break. If you don't do this, if you don't follow this idea, if you don't join this call, then keep complaining, or you stop complaining, you live with it, because if you can't beat them, you join them. Yes. So this is the message from our great leader, the leader of the African Revolution Force. As you watch the video, after watching, share the message, make sure it reach almost every African. And Christ is our strength. We can do all things through Christ who strengthens us. God bless us. God bless Africa. And God bless all the good people of the world that is supporting the stand up again for Africa. Remain blessed.